Hey, family. Is the world waiting for what you carry and the impact that you have in your heart that you want to make in the world? Um, who who's waiting for it? And where does that
Mm,
bring you, Candace?
mm. It brings me to the fact that most of the time we don't know the person who is waiting for the impact of what we are carrying. And um, so, yeah.
And I think a lot of the conversations that we were having, we had our first reflection call for our Awaken Your Purpose challenge, which you can come and join. It's a 40-day devotional where you get to awaken your purpose, period. I don't even
Period.
know what else to say in along those lines. We were trying to make it a morning routine challenge. Yes, I do it in the morning, and but sometimes it happens later in the morning or even at night. And I just love that we got to do this because it's brought so much conversation, so much hearing from God. And what we're hearing from God is like, is there a step that God's telling you to take that you're afraid to take because the world says you shouldn't take that step?
Mm,
And so,
mm.
what?
I'm thinking about the post that I started cooking after you said on day two, you guys, day two. Um, God gave her this download of like the struggle is not real. Like,
Yeah,
come on. It ain't, it's the world. The world is lying to us, telling us the struggle is real.
yeah.
And we don't have to struggle. So we're sitting here choosing it. There's so many ways we can go with this conversation, and we've had so many other like preparatory conversations, and like our brains are over here like, oh my gosh, like in a good way, vibing of the different things. But so often, and we've been there ourselves in the past, we um we have so much anticipation towards what's coming, and we're looking for, talk about looking for a system and a process, and what was the other S word?
Strategy.
Strategy. That's when Cheryl met me. It was like, I'm like, all right, let's try all of them. Which one are we gonna do? We're gonna, like, we got this one, we got that one, we got that one. Let's, there's, the answer is somewhere in the middle. The answer is God, you guys.
Yeah, and when
But
I heard that from you, it was like, okay, I guess I could check out what they're doing, but my other brain of myself, I was like, but I could try to figure out another answer too. I think there's like so many different ways that we can go with it. Yes, there could be one answer, but at the same time, my brain thinks of like, there's a lot of different answers out there. And to go along the lines of the real missing piece of like, the answer is God.
that's,
And
yeah.
he is the peace. And today he's like, I already know where all the pieces go. You don't need to know. And I think that's another thing like we get caught up in is like we need to know the step moving forward even from God. Like, God, give me the exact way. Please give me the exact way. And he's never going to give you the exact way because that's
Mm-mm.
not how he works.
Mm-mm.
That's not how he
No.
twerks.
Not twerks. Since we're there, you gotta release why we say that.
So I say twerk because my
We
sons,
say
both of
twerk.
them,
We do it now.
and they that CC Winan song, "Goodness of
Goodness
God."
of God.
Yeah,
Yes.
you see me be working, and so
Never
then they
stop.
they
Never
never
stop
stop
working.
twerking. So like that to me, when we're on our bestie vibe and like Jesus is our best friend, like, and I was watching The Chosen and a clip of him riding the donkey, and he's going like this because it's not a real donkey he's riding, but he has to emulate the donkey.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus is twerking.
So now you're welcome. In the words of Maui, you're welcome, because now you will not get that out of your head, hopefully in a good, joyful way. But when we say twerking, we mean working and like working it and like cooking and slaying and all the other slang that you want to bring in. And we mean it in a way that brings God closer to us. And we don't mean it in a disrespectful way. It's just a way that we can relate to him. So we do. And so we relate to him, through joy, through humor, through play on words and visuals of the donkey.
Yes.
And, but the thing I was going to say earlier about the whole strategy thing is it puts you in, once you start seeking the right way, it puts you in more often than not, two things. Number one, analysis paralysis, because you're going to get information overload and you're not going to know what is the right way. Which one's the right way? Which one? That's where I was when Cheryl met me. It was like, I had this person's strategy on a business, this person's business strategy, that person's. I had all the strategies and I had access to it because I made friends and I was like, oh, can you share with me? And then I'm like overwhelmed by the amount of options. And what Cheryl was saying earlier was like, there's different ways. And this is what God has revealed to me over the years, is that just because I use that one strategy that way with that person and it might work similarly for another person doesn't mean that that's the strategy he wants us to take.
Yes. And that's
so,
like in personal development. You could give someone the same business plan to two different people. One can make it successful and one can bring it down to
nothing.
Whatever. Like nothing.
Yeah.
And so like that's why like we pay for strategies now and we pay for all these things and we don't need to. And you're going to find what you're seeking. And you said this today too, that whatever you seek, you will find, of course, because our world is big. There's abundance everywhere. You can find evidence that broccoli is good for you or bad for you. So,
yes.
Yes. The evidence that ice cream is good before dinner or after dinner. Like you can find evidence for everything. But like what God's been revealing is like, okay, but the only difference is you.
Yes, and your heart and postures and beliefs. So I actually shared this with someone earlier in a DM after the call, but I was saying this stood out to me, and then funny enough, I looked down in my Bible, and guess what? It was right there, one of the versions, one of the words, one of the scriptures in Matthew 8:13. Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, let it be done just as you believed it would." Your beliefs will become what you experience, you guys. So like Cheryl said, what you're looking for, you're going to find. If you're looking for the world to be falling apart and going to hell in a handbasket, you're going to find it. If you're looking for God interwoven throughout the chaos and the trials, you're going to find it. If you're looking for signs in the sky, you're going to find it. So, but it's because it's like the heart posture behind the look, behind it. So when you're looking for those strategy and you're thinking like, you get overwhelmed because you have too many options, or you have a right way. This is another cause of the paralysis for us. No, not all of us. I don't know. I'm gonna speak for myself because I'm gonna let Cheryl chime in for her. For me, like a little while ago, part of the paralysis was, well, this proven strategy technique of like, let's say social media, because that's where we're showing up a lot. Social media, online platforms, and podcasts, right? This is how it works. This is what the algorithm says, blah, 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 blah. But then God is like, but why? Like, I'm bigger than that. And bring in David and Goliath.
You want me to do that?
Yes. Drive it home.
The whole conversation?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
No, not the whole, but at least the part of the message, the meat and the potatoes.
Well, I think we probably talked about this on a call, but like David and King Saul.
Yes.
They were both given different gifts. They were both called, but they were all called for different times. And God used them in the different times. And so King Saul brought all the tribes together. And then it was David's turn. Like, okay, he was already losing his mind and everything because he didn't want to listen to God and he was bringing in evil. And
Because his
then,
ego started taking over and his
yes.
pride.
And
Mm.
so then he's like, okay, you're done. And I'm going to bring David, this guy who's a shepherd, who's like a bastard son, who's he's not a bastard son. He's son of a different mom. And ga- gave him all the tools through just his daily life of being a shepherd, of taking care of the sheep, and brought him to this place of like, okay, you can fight the giant. I gave you the tools. I don't know how he got the vision, but he didn't have the internet. He didn't have like all these things, a strategy to kill a giant. Like there is no strategy back in the day, and that was revealed on the call today. Hello, Chat GPT. What's the strategy to kill a giant? No, you cannot do that. He couldn't do that. He had faith, and he had
Mm.
faith that his God was bigger. And if we continue to have faith that our God's bigger, I even told my husband this morning, like, our God is bigger than this war that they're trying to not have or have. I don't even know what the process is in having it. But like, why don't they just look to God? And yes, people are gonna go against that all the time because they cannot see it. That's why faith is unseen. And so like having any person that was part of the tribe, his brothers could have killed that giant, but they believed that they could not. They had the mindset that
Mm.
they weren't good enough or they weren't called or they weren't well, but so God showed up. God was like, okay, David believes, so I'm going to let him cook. So I think that's where you wanted me to go.
Yes, that's what I wanted you to do because you were saying the miracle was it wasn't some magic show that this little tiny guy defeated this humongous giant. It was the mindset that had been crafted through the trials. If you think about David's story, the trials that he had to go through in order to give him the tools to prepare him to kill the giant, that those in those moments, if you're looking in those single moments, you're probably like, oh my God, like, you had to kill a lion with your bare hands? Like, what? Like, I would be like, that takes some strength. Like, but who's going to think they're stronger than a lion, right? But oh, you went through that trauma. You went through that trauma. So the same thing is happening for you. And it's how we look at it. And like Cheryl said, all those other guys, his brothers and everybody else, they were all there and they're staring at this giant, but their focus is on the giant. Their focus isn't on their God. So where is your faith and what is it keeping you from? What do you carry? What has God put you through and sent you into on purpose? Because on our call with our reflection call, Cheryl made the statement that everything is intentional. And that reminded me, Elevation Church, I watched their service this past Sunday, and he said from a clip, it was from a clip from a different Sunday, you guys, but it was like, part of you is on this high step and you're doing great, and the other part, your other foot is down here on this step, and you're like, but both steps were ordered because everything is intentional. So if you're stepping out and you're like not considering it joy in the chaos and the trials, which we're ordered to do in the Bible, we're commanded to do, because we're going to have the peace that's going to surpass that, by the way. When you do it God's way, it's better. Period. There's a song about it. But
Yeah.
it's all on purpose. And so don't don't not take a step because you're afraid like you're going to step off the path, because God is within you. You will not fail. And maybe you needed to step off that path to fail in the world, in the view of the world, so that it would give you the tool that you needed down the road. But you can't see that. Your vision is right here and God can see everything.
Yes. And now it's circling back to my definition of miracle.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I think now is the time to reveal that definition because it just came in my head. And it's because it's a miracle because the world says it's not supposed to happen. And God's
Mm.
like, I do miracles all the time. God is good all the time. Yeah. Um, and if we expect for the miracles, aka miracles, like they're already there. They're already right there in front of our face,
Mm.
like the sky, like the signs, like all the things, like having a God day. And I was like, but Candace, we're with God all the time now. Like all the time. Even
You're like,
though
you do
like
that every day. I'm like,
yeah,
I know, but not the way I want it to look.
yes, but then we're not gonna like expect for it in those moments of like my kid is being cray.
Yeah.
But like that's why it's a miracle. And I guess like I was thinking about the miracle on 34th Street on all these things. I was like, those didn't happen by magic. Even all the Santa movies, there's steps why something happened. It wasn't magic in the Santa movies too.
Mm.
That's messing me up right now.
And I'm seeing like I'm going back to our conversation about our plan and God's plan. And like we're taking our plan. Most of the time, God used a step to get you to move because he needed you to get over here in this part instead of being over here. And we get so fixated on that. We're putting God in the box and we're like, all right, God, you gave me this plan. And he's like, but I told you that I just need you to get there. He's like, listen to me. Don't tell me what my plan is.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't tell me what to do.
You're like, you're taking your plans to God when really we need to be asking him for his plan. And like, and
Yes.
not even the whole plan. Because
Right.
as one of our participants told us, she was cooking. She said, I'm trying to remember. I don't even know anybody who was helping God and actually had the whole plan. No
Yep.
one's coming to mind. And I'm like, period. Like, period, exclamation mark. It's more than a period.
And the
Because
number
God,
one person was like Jesus, like I already know. But did he know every single step? No, he prayed and he was like he felt called. He like all these things. That miracle of Bethsaida that was on there, like I said that wrong, but that's how I say it in my Filipino. That he told that person on the Sabbath, pick up your mat. Because he has to show the Pharisees on that day, like you're not supposed to do that. He's like, but the person who saved me said to do it. Like that's
but
what
he said, but he said, that's all I'm going to sit here and say. But he said, what is Jesus saying to you? Don't
Yes.
tell me what the algorithm says. Don't tell me what the world says. What does Jesus say? Period. Go do it.
Yes.
Now go do it. Because then you're
Now
going to
go
find the next step and the next step and the next step. And now this makes me want to talk about when we were called to rebrand a second time. Because we were, well, was it the second or third? I don't even know. It was the third time, actually. So the first time, you guys, like
yeah.
we were working with a bigger community of people, and then that was before I started really going close with God. And I knew I told Cheryl one day, I was like, I'm noticing that everything I'm doing in all the areas, like not just that community, my coaching,
Your life.
my life, my friend,
Yeah.
all the boxes were starting to get, but God, but God, but God, but God. And I was like, I'm called to do this, so I'm just gonna do it and we'll see where it lands. And then it was like someone else was inspired to go a different way, and 100% that's fine because that's where they needed to go, and then we needed to go. And I don't think if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have done it. So it all happened on purpose, for purpose. And so we go to round two. We already had our podcast. It was already cooking. So then we're like, let's build this community. So we start building the community under the Besties on Purpose brand. And God starts cooking and I'm out walking. And this is what happens on almost like 99% of our conversations, you guys. I'll be thinking something. Cheryl will say it. And I'll be like, I was thinking that. Thank you for saying that. But also don't thank you for saying that. So when she said we needed to rebrand, I was like, don't even, I was like, say it, but don't say it. I don't even want to do it, but we just did it, God. But here's the difference. It truly was Christ centered. And it truly was for the glory of God. And it truly was the open community that he had called me to build. So if I didn't go through all those other 27 layers, then I wouldn't have gotten to where we are now.
Yeah.
And it can often seem like it's a harder step that God's calling you to do. Like rebranding after you just rebranded, like literally I'm talking March and July. Like that's the time frame of the rebrands. January, March, July. We're like, and when you think about all that goes into a rebrand, the colors, the fonts, the websites, the links, the making sure your videos have the right links when you just had the other links, and people in the community are like, well, you're kind of here and now we're going to name it this and hope you want to stay, but if you don't, there's the door. But okay, with blessing and love. So what does that saying to you?
I didn't think it was a big deal because I don't think things are big deals.
And that's why we compliment each other so well, because we're
Yeah.
speaking to so many people, right? Like you're like, no big deal. And I'm like, the details. So that's why I think it works so well. And that's
Yeah.
why I think we're called to say this is like, whatever pressure you're putting on yourself, whatever God is calling you to, I guarantee you, just do it. In the words of Cheryl, do it.
Yeah, do it because it's going to show you whatever you need to get shown by God. But you also have to believe that. You can't just be like, Cheryl told me to do it and now I don't see anything happening. But you have to want to see it. You have to have the willingness to see where it's taking you, because then you are going to miss it. And to have that willing heart and to know that God's got your back continuously. He's not going to shame you. He's not going to guilt you. He's not asking you to check every box just to check the boxes. He's asking you to check the box to see how it transforms your heart. And let it transform your heart. Let him transform your heart. And it's going to feel weird. Like I keep telling people, like it feels so weird that I'm doing this. But it feels so good. I feel so called. I feel so convicted because I know that it's going to impact that one person, that 20 people, the hundreds of thousands of people who watch this video, that they're going to take that next step and they're going to learn from that moment instead of just taking it and falling. They're going to keep going because God's like building the stairs as you go. And I'm seeing that now. So
The enemy is trying to keep you from taking that next step.
yes.
He's trying to keep you from connecting with community and
Yes.
from connecting with God and taking the next step. Those three things is what he's trying to do. So the longer you sit in the limbo and you're worried about, if I do this, I might step off the path. Bring God in. The longer you do that, the further away it's going to get. He's going to get. The bigger the noise, the louder the noise is going to get, the bigger the trial is going to seem, until it's a big full-blown giant and you're just a tiny little ant and you're going to feel like you can't. But guess what? Even if you get to that place, God knew you were going to get there, and he knew that you were going to call on him in that moment. So it's never, ever, 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 ever too late for you to call on God and to put him into focus, back into focus. So if this inspires you, please let us know. Leave us a message, a comment, a rating, a like, hit us up in the DMs, all the things. But I wanted to bring one more thing about perfection, because let's just be real. We keep it real here. I was going to the bathroom before we pressed record, and I realized I got pajamas, y'all. Pajamas. I'm in pajama pants down, a business up top, party down below. And also, I washed my hair yesterday or the day before, whatever day I washed my hair, 2 nights ago. And I don't usually wash it that late, and my hair didn't have enough time to fully dry. And then I put it in the thing, and then it was too wet, so it didn't look good. So I could have a million excuses not to have pressed record on this podcast right now, this very podcast, if I was being a perfectionist. So, but I didn't, because I've surrendered that. If God calls Cheryl and he's speaking to her through her to me, like, hey, you got to press record, because he's already been over here like this morning, like, there's something out of focus and I'm bringing it back in, and I'm like, okay, what is it? But don't, like, he's called me to show up, and I could have said, no, let me get dressed, let me do, my hair looks terrible, I didn't put on makeup, I don't even know if I brushed my teeth yet. Like, I could say all the things, which is a real true story, you guys. Sorry. But I'm sharing because guess what? You're watching this video because it hit you. And guess what? Before you even knew any of that, all the things I was saying in the beginning of the video were hitting you. They were cooking, because God has a purpose and God has a plan. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. People will tell you, oh, you got to look this way. You got to have the best lighting. You got to do this. You got to do that. Throw the you gotta's out in the trash can and just do what God is asking you to do. Okay?
Period.
So we love you. Thank you for subscribing, because you just did it again and you liked it and you left us a comment. All right. We love you. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.